Hello, welcome to this vlog called Interval Notation. Title's right here in front of us, we can see that. So we're going to discuss what this means. We have three different kinds of representation. We have set notation on the left. We have the curly brackets there in that straight line, x less than a or x greater than a. I'll explain what that means in a minute. Then we have the graph, the picture representation. We have the A, and we have an arrow pointing to the left. And lastly, we have the interval notation on the right. So it tells you where x lives between negative infinity and a. Set notation first. So I know the writing is kind of small, but what we're saying is x, the line meaning such that in formal English. X such that means x, we have x less than a. That symbol there, where x is on the small end, x less than a. Now the graph, we have a and we have a parentheses right there, meaning we can get close to a, but we don't touch or include a, quote unquote. And then it goes to the left. So you're thinking, where is it? Where is x less than a? It's to the left of a. Now it moves from negative infinity up until almost touching a. Now our interval notation. We follow the same order from least to largest, and both having parentheses, meaning you don't include a or include negative infinity. You can never include infinity. It's not an actual number, it's a concept of the furthest number out. So x less than a. X less than a, but not including or equal to a. Let's go to another example. Now we have x, where x is greater than a. Still not including a. So we should expect to see a parentheses, not a square bracket, from a up to positive infinity or just infinity. So we follow the same order again. Our graph leads us to the correct interval notation. So parentheses a to infinity. It means forever, all the way out to where you can't even go. You know, the same as negative infinity, you can never have a square bracket for infinity. If you could actually touch infinity, there'd be things past infinity, which is not means you didn't have infinity. Now, below that, we had parentheses. Now we have this square bracket thing. And why is that even there? Let me show you. This says x where x is less than or equal to a. So a can be included. So the square bracket means we include a. It's a closed interval. So negative infinity never has a square bracket, as I said before. You cannot touch infinity. And then we have a, and then close bracket, meaning a is included. The equal sign is what tells us to use the square bracket. That next example was the same as the previous one, so I skipped over it. Now we have x where x is between a and b, but not inclusive of a and b. So both of them have parentheses and not the square bracket, and x kind of lives in between them. My recommendation is when you're working on these, like asking for set notation, or if I give you some inequality, draw the number line first, label everything, figure out what direction it's going with the correct brackets or parentheses. And the last thing you should do is the interval notation. Forgive me, interval notation, because the interval notation follows the number line in the same order with the same symbols. For example, now we're including B, but not A. So we have parentheses A, move over to B, but closed parenthesis or closed bracket. Now, the bottom part, we have X is a real number, means all X values, not including, of course, imaginary numbers like 3i. All right, now our next set of examples. Now, we're going to graph them ourselves. So the set notation says x where x is greater than or equal to 2. Find the region first. All right, that's where 2 is. Now, greater than or equal to, meaning we should see a square bracket, and we want to go above 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it moves over to the right from 2. So if you're using a number line, from the set notation to the number line, you graph it and put it there, and then when you go to interval notation, it becomes easy. You're just copying it from the graph, from the number line. So x less than -1, meaning -1 and then moving to the left. -2, -3, -4. It's going to go to the left. But it didn't say equal to, so it's going to be a parentheses, not a square bracket. It's open. All right. You may remember in previous math classes you'd use an open circle or a shaded circle. This is the same concept. So maybe you used to write an open circle and then the arrow to the left for this one. That's an open bracket. Now up above, we have the closed square bracket with the shaded in circle. It's the same concept, but now we're moving over to more formal math notation and using the square brackets or the parentheses to represent open or closed. Well, that's the beauty of electronic writing. If I don't like where it is, I just move it over where I want it. Now, the last one, be very careful. The order is different. The x is not in the first position. We have 0 less than x. Okay. If you look at it the opposite way, you can say x is greater than 0. Those two statements are the same value. They are the same thing. If 0 is less than x, then x is greater than 0. So would I use a parentheses or a square bracket? Is it open or closed? There's no equal sign there. So it's going to be using a parentheses, so an open. Now I told you to be careful. I almost made the mistake. 0 less than x. Okay, I always think less than is left, but really 0 is the lowest value. So it's 0 and up. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, moves to the right. If you get confused with this, which many people do, you can flip the whole statement, the inequality. But be careful though. Watch this. Previously, the larger part of the inequality is with the x, and I kept it the same direction. So these two things mean the same thing. Thank you for your attention. See you next vlog.